then any moment spent idly is wasted.
The world tells you you must be one way. Seek out a career. Become a working man. Being an entrepreneur is far, far afield from being a working person. If I'm going to do it, I'm all in and I nail it until I've conquered that skill and mastered it, and then I can do something else. I've always given you the space to grow into the young man that you need to become. Lock in. Who hates YouTube ads? Who hates Facebook ads? Anybody's previous relationships with a media agency are probably not pleasant.
Good morning. Fuck. It's like the one thing you told me not to say. All right.
Okay. Just slow down. Find your center.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of The Ripple Effect. Today I'm sitting here with Nicole, otherwise known as Mum, otherwise known as Perspective Australia. I'm Jack, the founder of Ripple Media. We specialise in making people famous. If you were to summarise what you do as a general overview, what would that be?
So I only get a summary.
Yeah, just a summary, and then you can extend.
Do I have a time limit? Holy dooly. I guess rather than talk about what I do, I'd like to talk about who I am. So who I am is a person who loves adventure, always looking for the next thing, always moving forward. In saying that, yes, I'm Jack's mum. I was a teacher for 20 years, both in primary and high school. I always said when I lost the passion for teaching that I would stop because you just have such a huge impact on people's lives. And I did. I came to the end of what was enjoyable for me. The teaching had changed so much. It wasn't what I started doing. So I left. And in doing so, faced some health challenges, have overcome those now pretty much, moved back into doing what I love. So being in the outdoors, hiking, camping, all of those kinds of things. And in doing so, my husband and I launched our own personal brand, Perspective Australia, which is us basically adventuring. Part of that is also we will be adventuring in Don's aircraft as well once he's through testing phase. So yeah, that's a little bit about who I am and what we do.
There you go. I'm sure if both of us learned anything, it's that any moment spent idly is wasted.
Absolutely. Wonder where you get that from.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Starting off a business, it was like early last year for myself and Sam as well, my younger brother. We closed our first client, a wedding musician. Just really focusing on putting in the grind, going out prospecting, delivering free videos, closing people. What was that like, kind of watching from the sidelines in that moment?
It is equal parts inspiring and terrifying as a parent, simply because the world tells you you must be one way, that you need to, seek out a career, become a working man, and being an entrepreneur is far, far afield from being a working person. So part of me is just absolutely loved it. And Don and I loved the fact that we could provide this environment where you can do that. We've given you space to develop what you love, make mistakes, have huge successes, and to be a part of that over this time has just been amazing, to be honest. The speed of the growth has been, at times, we've been running to catch up. Well, you were running to catch up at first. And then, it's been contrasting.
Yeah, definitely. When we went through that kind of middle phase where we were really starting to grow, we were taking on more clientele. I couldn't handle all of it myself, and nor could Sam. Is that the moment when you kind of decided that you wanted to feel involved?
I think I've always been a photographer. Videography was new to me, so it's something I needed to learn, and in doing and growing our own brand, it's something I wanted to develop, also along with video editing. And like anything I've ever done in life, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in and I nail it.
Yeah.
until I've conquered that skill and mastered it, and then I can do something else. And like you, I get bored quickly once I've mastered something. So and that is a good thing as a teacher, because it enables you then to teach that skill to somebody else to the level that you want it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the question again? Holy dooly. There's my brain, hey.
When did you decide you wanted to be involved?
Oh, when did I decide I wanted to be involved? It was probably when I saw a need. And as I've always been throughout my life, I struggle with helping others at the expense of myself. I also get excited about a project, and then if I've got a spark about something or decide that I want to do it, that's it. I'm sold out. I'm all in. And so you and I had the discussion. There have been huge health challenges and mental health challenges in our family. And so we've always needed to be there to support each other. And the dynamic between Sam and yourself was meaning at that time you were carrying a lot of the workload.
Yeah.
And I wanted to step in to be there to carry some of that workload. Also being excited about what you're doing when Sam couldn't create those videos, etc. I don't think he'd mind me sharing that. I think that's just part of the journey that we're all on. So I'd say that probably would have been the catalyst. As far as the ongoing commitment to Ripple, it's just snowballed, because when I can see the growth potential in something and the way that it's impacting other people, that's just friggin' exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you just get sucked into this vortex of Ripple.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where at times I've had to take a step back and go, oh, wait a minute, I've got my own personal brand to grow.
Yeah, that's right.
And try to create that balance. But we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to your personal brand, I'd say, would that be what kind of introduced you to videography as well?
Yes, definitely. So previous to learning video editing and videography as a skill, photography was my main focus. And the adventures and communicating that. So it was more of a blog style photograph type sharing experience. Video just adds in that whole other dynamic. And when you get good at it, it's good. Because it just reaches people on a whole different emotional level. They're drawn into the moment where you are. You capture all of those behind the scenes as well as those cinematic places when you're out in a remote place.
Yeah.
It's game changing.
What I love about Perspective Australia is you're all about finding those hidden gems all across.
It is. Oh gosh, don't use that term. It's so overused. Yeah.
Yeah?
Hidden gems is like a hated term in my niche market.
Is it?
Yes.
What would you call it then?
I think there's actually a movement towards not sharing the locations of places that you visit and maintaining that secrecy, because the market is so oversaturated now with campers, hikers, adventurers, that we're seeing, whenever anyone says hidden gem, I cringe, because I think that there's very few places that are hidden gems anymore that can be reached by four-wheel drive. You know, I think perhaps Don and I may find some hidden gems once we're flying and can fly into remote places.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, sorry, I have a thing about hidden gems. It's like...
No, it's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. One thing I've noticed about the relationship you and I have together is I've seen other people and their family dynamics, and I think, I couldn't really imagine them working together.
Yeah.
Although with us, it's completely different. I'd say we're actually a really good team.
Yeah, I think we are both good and bad for each other.
Yeah.
In our team dynamic, because we're both these incredible balls of energy. But when we go down hard.
Yeah.
And I think that in doing so, we kind of balance each other out. You know, we kind of pass each other, you know, and I can see when you're having a low energy day and I substitute that with my energy and then it does this thing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, you know, atoms in space or something. I don't know. But that seems to be how it works. And to be honest, it's not always been easy as you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've had to work through a lot. We've kind of moved from being mother and son, which will always be, obviously, to more business partners, really.
Yeah.
And navigating that space is tricky because it involves a lot of trust and responsibility, particularly at a young age. I don't think of you as a young person, to be honest.
Okay.
I've always given you the space to grow into the young man that you need to become. And in doing so, we've had challenges, and I often call you on things.
Yeah.
Or play the devil's advocate and say, hey, yeah, that's all exciting, but have you thought about this?
Yeah.
And you get pissy with me and we have this good discussion in the car. But in doing so, that's how we nut things out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And I think it's okay to have uncomfortable conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you and I are actually too comfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, probably a little too uncomfortable.
Because then we do it with other people and they look at us like we're dramatic, crazy animals.
They do. We have had that. And the things we talk about, probably mothers and sons really don't often talk about. But
Yeah.
there we go. That's the relationship that we have, and it's open and honest. And to be honest, I think of you as a friend. You know, I think that's what this has evolved into. You're more than my son, you're my friend. And then I'm not going to let my friend go down.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something that's pretty darn powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Within a business.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Having that connection is really important. One of the things I noticed you struggled with when working with us, or out through your entire career, if you will, is you feel this massive sense of passion and you build this almost sense of urgency towards yourself that you need to get something completed.
Yeah.
So you take on this role and another one and another one and another one and another one until you realize one week, holy shit, I have nothing else to do but this. I go to sleep, then work, then go to sleep again.
Yes. That is the story of my life. Honestly, since I was a teenager, I have done exactly the same thing. It's all in. And over time, I've had to realise and reprioritise what's important. And you would have noticed the cycle in the 12 months that we've been working together. So I started off doing video editing initially, and then from that moved into,
you know, working as a personal assistant.
So personal assistant, Jack would bounce ideas off me. We'd have meetings. I'd attend meetings with him, and then moved into accounts management. So his role had grown too big. His client communications needed to take a front seat. And so therefore I was moving into more of the accounts manager role and really nurturing the back shops of those client social media accounts, posting, commenting, making sure everything's flowing beautifully in the background. Basically, not just posting and commenting, stepping into that avatar, that business, and being that person. So there's the accounts management part. And then as our team has grown, I've also taken on an operation manager's role, which is probably about 3 weeks ago. I realised, holy shit, this is bigger than Ben-Hur. I can't do this because I wasn't getting away from my adventures. I wasn't able to, do anything in that regard. And that's not the kind of life that I want. Like, that's just not... You've got to make sure that your priorities are set, because I've learned that if you get too involved in something at the expense of your own dreams, you've got no one to blame later on but yourself.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, do I overstep? Definitely. Do I have to reassess? Constantly. We've just done that again this week, right?
Oh yeah, just again, and then next week and the week after.
Oh
that.
yeah.
I do the same thing as well. It's like just taking on too much. I've kind of gone through a phase recently where it's almost unrecognisable, to the point where I say, okay, well, maybe we should pause for a second, refocus on systems and build team.
Yes.
And all that sort of thing, which sounds nothing like me.
It doesn't. I actually nearly slapped him last week because he was in this place where, oh no, I just want to get my systems and teams right. And I'm like, where is my, lead nurturer and, prospecting magnet? Where did he go? Like, literally. But we're in this phase at the moment with Ripple that systemization needed to happen. We needed people in key roles that were diligent, switched on. We needed to pick up slack that was falling in a few areas where we were losing income because of just inefficient practices and those kinds of things. We've taken on another team member. So, and in doing all of that, we've now consolidated the business so that it is rock solid again.
Yeah.
And we've got people who understand the expectations, are delivering the product, and therefore providing exceptional outcomes for Ripple's clients.
Yeah, yeah. That's in the beginning I thought, okay, well obviously the hardest part is going out and closing people and learning all the skills. No. That was like step one, you know.
Yeah.
I'd say definitely the hardest part is learning how to manage a team of people. Because everyone has all sorts of different personalities and different ways to learn things, and you have to adapt to their style of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I'm learning as well. You know, you and I have been discussing that this week, stepping into that operations manager role more fully over the last few weeks. It's been, you know, there's been teething issues for me because I'm trying to build relationship with our video editors and account managers in a way that doesn't make me look like a bitch.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way to put it, really, because I need to be very specific about what is needed in a video and I needed to provide that accurate feedback, but I'm not very good at shit sandwiches, you know, the good news, bad news, good news, giving that to somebody. I'm like, okay, this is what needs fixing. Here it is. Have a good arvo.
Yeah.
You know, and that does not always come across well on messages.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
right.
So I'm learning too to have, you know, ring people and have this conversation with them. And in doing so, though, I think they've kind of got their guard up, you know, like they're a little bit, oh, she's ringing, something's wrong. You know, but we need to have that because there needs to be somebody in this business that is just going to tell people like it is and what needs fixing.
Yeah, that's right. And I think balancing developing a relationship with team members but also holding them accountable is such a fine line to walk, especially when you're trying to encourage growth and improvement for these people as well.
Yeah. And you're very good at that. You're very good at developing that relationship. And I guess it comes too with the age difference. So our video editors are younger, you know, not all of them. Some of them are younger. And you have things in common. So, you know, you talk the same language, etc. And you can have conversations about the things that you're doing and all of that sort of stuff. And I do that to a degree, but it's not the same. Also, you know, they're looking up to you as a business mentor because they're basically wanting to develop their own business skills. And they see the success of Ripple and want to emulate that. And so therefore they kind of look up to you, whereas me, I'm just more of the terrifying police officer coming in and telling them, hey, this font's not right. Can we please adjust this music, etc.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Although I think once we go through this phase of learning to adapt to all this, I think it's going to be quite prosperous in the sense that we can take on that much more work. We can deliver that much more.
Absolutely.
Going back to our team members as well, we have 2 18-year-old editors,
Isn't Luke older than 18? Isn't he older
19.
than you? Yeah.
He's 19.
Yeah, so let's start that again.
All right. We have 2 editors under the age of 20, and then we have another 2 team members as well who are also husband and wife. So working with that dynamic, I believe, is pretty interesting, and keeping it all family-based as well, you know, through me working with you and my little brother Sam, and now Mike and his wife as well, Mike and Shelley.
Absolutely. And Sam's working, he still will do video editing if he wishes to, but he's more working in the PA role.
Yeah, doing all the back-end stuff. I think it's really rewarding as well having these people come in, we're also affecting their lives.
Absolutely.
Their
Yeah.
entire lifestyle. I think Mike's editing skills have gone through the roof, especially when it comes to his YouTube channel and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was not too long ago. It was almost like a knock on the door will open sort of scenario when we thought, man, we need another accounts manager because Mum's taking up way too much time doing account management when she's trying to edit videos and manage team members. I thought we need someone who's a bit older, who's been working as an English teacher.
That isn't what you said. You said, we need another mum.
Yeah, we need another mum who's been working as a teacher for a very long time.
Yeah.
Who has all these skills.
Attention to detail.
All that sort of thing. So definitely not a young bloke like me.
I'm not saying that young people can't spell, but young people can't spell. Honestly, holy crap. It is atrocious sometimes. And not only that, but some of it is niche related. So, for example, they're place names or product names that require that little bit of extra effort to go and find. And sometimes people don't always put in the extra effort to go and find.
Yeah. It's just about pushing them a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
Not expecting too much of them for
absolutely
what they're receiving back either, which is it's a funny dynamic.
It is a dynamic, definitely.
Yeah.
So in talking about all this stuff with team members, it makes me think about how Ripple impacts the community at large. What do you see Ripple being in our community?
I see Ripple working as the kind of conduit that encourages growth and open-mindedness. I have a passionate hatred towards people or businesses who decide that they have a limit, that they can't move any further forward, especially when they have access to such large advancements in technology. They can reach millions and millions of people online and they choose to shake a dozen hands a day. Or they have a huge team of people who are still typing on a keyboard when they can be leveraging AI or they can be building better systems for their own business as well. I think putting that limit on yourself is very self-destructive.
It is, but seeing it from a different perspective, there are a vast number of people that have grown up with massive transitions in technology, and people are always afraid of change. So you've got to understand they've poured their livelihood into their business, their time, their effort, their money is all in that thing, and then they're trusting something that is relatively new to the stage to get them there.
And I think it is difficult for them as well because they need the proof of concept.
Absolutely.
They need the proof of concept. Not only that, but they've been burnt before.
Absolutely.
I'm aware of so many other businesses in Toowoomba in particular that have worked with a marketing agency and they said, cool, we're going to post a handful of photos for you per month. You're going to reach thousands of people and you're going to make loads of sales. That's what they were told.
Yeah.
And then nothing came out of it. Well, they thought, well, that was a waste of time and money. I'll focus on what's working. It's a huge shame.
Which I can understand because then you just come back and consolidate. It's one of those things, you try something, it didn't work, I'll come back here. And then the trust is eroded.
Yeah.
So that by the time you reach their doorstep or they see something pop up in their feed from Ripple, they're like, oh, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Yes.
Here we go again.
Yeah. But in saying that, how does Ripple then set itself apart from those marketing agencies?
The entire point of what we do is to build relationship with your audience. That's the only point of what content is. It doesn't serve any other purpose, really, because building a relationship with your audience has everything else follow as well. If you're looking for sales, if you're looking to grow in clientele, if you're looking to maintain brand awareness.
Yes.
It all follows with building a relationship with your audience through providing value to them as well. When you post a photo of, we had an event the other night. Cool. What happened at the event? What kind of stories were told? Who were the people there? What are their interests? All that sort of thing. If we were to really break it down, expand upon that, and create some personality for your brand, that's what builds connections.
I think the evolution of social media is also difficult for people to see who aren't involved in that space.
Oh, it's ever evolving.
Yeah, but in the beginning, when it was first launched, it went from being, for example, if I go back to Facebook, it was more like you were friends with people, you actually had conversations on there, and it was more like a photo album.
Yeah.
In Instagram, it was more like a photo album.
Yeah.
It is completely changed now so that your personal brand and your personality is the star in that space.
Yeah.
And if you're not a business or a person personally who is consuming that content and understanding the meaning behind it, it is very difficult to make that connection.
It is.
Because people are still trying to use it as a promotional billboard.
Yeah, that's right.
And people hate being promoted to. Who hates YouTube ads? Who hates Facebook ads?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm scrolling. I don't want to see an ad. I don't want to press the shop now button. I don't want to listen to your latest political statement on YouTube when I'm trying to watch a camping video. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So what people want is to be able to trust a brand, and what Ripple is trying to do is to build that trust. Is that
to
what you would
build that
say?
trust. Exactly. That's right. It's the problem is the bar has been set so low. You know, people think that they can just post to people and have results come back to them. That's not how social media works. That's how a billboard works. That's sometimes how direct advertising works. And even then, when we run Facebook ads for people, that's not how we do it either.
No.
I think you need to have a return on investment with your social media. If you're not having a return, you're doing something wrong.
I agree. And it's not good enough just to keep throwing money at it.
Yeah.
You know, if something's not working, part of what we do is reassess. So we'll do something for a week or 2 weeks.
Optimize it.
Let's optimize it. Okay, it's not reaching the avatar that you want, or you're just getting a whole heap of spammy, feedback.
Yeah.
That's no good. Let's change it.
Yeah.
And you're not locked into some ridiculous contract saying, oh, we're going to post this many times, or you're going to invest so much into this ad campaign, etc. No.
It's all scalable. That's right. And for someone who doesn't have a budget, they say, look, don't bother me. I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on social media management.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we can scale it down to what your budget works for.
And make it niched, make it responsive to that business, to those people that you want to reach. It's no good just, promoting a post on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's not going to reach the people that you want to reach.
You'll notice the difference between the content you were producing before and the content you will soon be posting when people start stopping you in shopping centres, when you're out grocery shopping in car parks, and they say, hey, I recognise you.
Yeah. And that's the feedback we get from our clients.
Yeah.
We have people, going into North Point Meats and saying, oh, Maddie, I saw you in that video, know, or, oh, Graham, watched the podcast the other week, mate. Yeah. He's like, man, I don't know this guy from Bar of Soap.
Yeah.
But he's watching the podcast and he's enjoying it, and it's just, people feel like they know them.
Yeah.
Because they see them online and they're familiar with them. I did that as a video editor.
Yeah.
You guys would go and record footage and I'd be producing video content for people. And when I met that person, I'm like, hey, I really feel like I know you. Because
they have no idea.
No, they have no idea who I am because I've been producing video content about them for weeks.
Yeah.
I knew why they had long hair and were a fire twirler and, why they loved what they did and all of those kinds of things. It's a real way of building rapport, and that is the passionate heart of Ripple.
And that's what adds up to sales too. Like if we were to take it back for a sec, what we're talking about is fantastic.
Yes.
That personal reputation that's being enhanced for people, it's amazing. But from a business owner's perspective is, how is it making me money?
Oh, absolutely.
How is it making me money? Through having these connections, through building relationships with your audience, as we just described, it adds up to more sales.
And
it adds
trust.
up to more referrals and trust. That's
because if I'm driving home from work and I'm thinking, hey, what am I going to have for dinner? If North Point Meats is in my feed every single day, I'm going to go, oh, I'm driving past North Point. Oh, I'll stop at North Point Meats.
Yeah.
Because they are constantly there in the back of my mind as a trusted place to go and buy my dinner.
One of the ways I really like to break it down to business owners is we find the niche. For example, let's talk about a towing business, for example, car towing, all that sort of thing. There are only however many of those in Toowoomba.
Yes.
How can your online reputation give you a leg up on your competition?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And through doing that, through being top of mind, through using one of the most effective forms of advertising there is, you'll keep all of that clientele as well.
Absolutely.
All of those potential
Yeah.
customers who
Yeah.
haven't happened yet
Yeah.
and will. Although I would argue that it's actually more than content performance. It's about the relationship we're building with you as well.
Absolutely.
If we were to break down what you can and can't expect through working with Ripple as a prospective lead or a client or something like that, how would you break that down?
Can I just start by saying that I actually hate the word content agency. I think anybody's previous relationships with a media agency are probably not pleasant relationship, as you've discussed.
Yeah. It's all about relationship. We should change it from content agency to relationship
I don't know.
something
weird.
or other.
Yeah. Well, ask ChatGPT, it'll come up with something.
Good old ChatGPT.
Oh, that's the other thing we need to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to the systems that we're using for everyone.
Yeah, but not even just that. I'm talking about the funny relationship that we have working at home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and what that looks like when someone walks into our lounge room.
That's right. If you walk into our living room, you will see Mum on her laptop, me on my laptop or my phone, Dad also on his laptop working on his YouTube videos. And we have to pause everything we're doing, stop the YouTube video Dad's watching because Mum's doing a prompt on her phone, talking to her phone on ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's constant.
Or I tell you that you need to be quiet because I'm calling someone or I'm doing a prompt or something like that. I need to go in a different room.
Or I'm recording voiceover. Shh.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the dog starts barking.
I know. Or we'll go into a different room to do it, etc. It's one of those things. Our house is a working space.
Yeah.
My bedroom is my solace. But if we're out in the living area, it's fair game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in Sam as well, you know, he'll walk in to do PA stuff and we'll just all stop for a second, have a bit of a debrief, back to what we're doing. But it's funny, you know, one of the video editors will pop over to do something and they walk in and it's just very normal. Or we'll have visitors and I'll be chatting to ChatGPT about some client's caption or whatever it is that we're doing and they just think it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But for us, it's just second nature.
Yeah, that's right.
We
barely type anything.
Everything's voice
prompted to the AI assistant that comes back with the fine-tuned copy.
And it knows us so well. So I'll say, oh, look, that's just absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, you need to completely rewrite this. This word is not spelled correctly. Please don't use that hashtag. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I need more locality hashtags, blah, blah, blah. It's good. You just get used to talking to it like it.
Like a human.
Well, I don't think I talk to humans quite that abruptly at times.
Like a slave.
It is like a slave. I always say to Jack, if, you know, this all goes like Terminator-wise,
we're
screwed.
Screwed.
Then we're the first ones to die.
Yep, we're the first
because of the way we talk to ChatGPT.
I remember when I first introduced you to ChatGPT and how to start voice prompting and to create your own AI assistant.
Yeah.
With your Perspective Australian one, you were so friendly to it. You'd say please and thank you.
Oh, I know, but
Thank
sometimes...
you very much, ChatGPT. And then 3 months later, you're like, listen here, motherfucker.
Oh, do not say... Don't say... And please don't put that in the podcast. It's not that. It's just because it's still a developing software, it doesn't take into account sometimes the prompts that you've put in previously or it forgets information. It's not a perfect system.
That's right.
So you just get so frustrated because you're like, oh my goodness, I've told you, I know I'll say this 800 times, not to use that hashtag.
Yeah.
You know, or don't put at Ripple, we blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It just sounds so salesy. Get rid of it. You know, I'll say, remember this for every post going forward. And no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you need to,
anyway, come live with us for a day and see the joy of working with ChatGPT.
Yep, that's the way. Nice.
Yeah.
So in order to close, summarise what we talked about It's all about relationship. It's all about driving results. And the whole point is to work as closely as we can with each other, pretty much, because I believe the closer we are with our team members, with our clients, the more tight-knit we are, the more of a creative and flexible result we can deliver as well.
I think another great initiative that we've started is having our monthly team meetings.
Yeah.
Because in doing that, things remain open and transparent. So it's not just our business together on Telegram, etc. It's getting together in the flesh once a month, looking at upcoming projects, nurturing the current clients that we have, talking numbers. We've had this discussion, sharing numbers and money discussions with your team should be a thing.
Yeah.
Because it gets them excited. It keeps us all on the same page. Hey, we've got this huge client coming on board. Let's nail this for them. This is how much money this is bringing in.
Yeah.
Be a part of that. And it just builds this momentum where everybody wants to be a part of the Ripple machine.
And it feels really rewarding talking to the editors and saying, this video that you made had this result. Absolutely.
Because that's what they want to hear. They're investing all of this time into a creative process that they hope is going to make results. If they can't see the fruit of that result, then where's the ambition to keep going?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that then drives the skills as well. So, that worked really well. Let's niche down on that. Let's do some more of those. And hey, let's add in this new transition. Or let's, think of a different way we could do this.
Yeah.
There's more discussion and creativity.
Well, thank you for coming out this morning and, recording this with me. It's been quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it has. I've really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah.
It's been good to reflect on where we've come from.
It's just good having that conversation too. Like, we've had bits of this conversation over time, but we haven't ever sat down and recorded it. So I feel pretty good about that.
It's been very cool.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you are interested in building your online reputation via, social media or any other means, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in following along for the journey, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave a comment below. If you can think of someone who would find this interesting, feel free to let them know as well.